And we're back on Southeast Texas Weekly to talk about Ebola. A whole lot more coming up. Michael Lindsay here with Lindsay and Parsons.
Good to be here.
Good to see you, sir. Nathan Buddy Reynolds here on the Democratic side as well.
Kevin,
how are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Hanging in there. And Kent Batman from up Hardin County way, where the real people live.
They do.
Good to see you, man. All right. Tell me about this matter. 33-year-old Casey Hickox returns from West Africa, having worked in a hot zone to save lives, returns to America, and gets promptly held up by the governors of New York and New Jersey, and said, we're going to throw you in a quarantine center, and we're going to keep you here for as long as we like. She says, I don't think so. This is the United States of America. I'm getting out. Now she's riding bikes around the great state of Maine. When it comes to an appropriate response to a killer virus like the Ebola virus, who has the more sound policy here? The president seems to be saying in general terms, this is not something to overreact about. This is something to keep a close eye on. The administration has taken steps. Meanwhile, the governors of New Jersey and New York are saying, we're going to quarantine you for 21 days if we think there's a shred of evidence that you could transmit this killer virus onto others. Who has the right policy? Kent Batman, we start with you.
I think it's prudent at this point, as early as it is, to go ahead and have some kind of a quarantine process. I'll tell you what, though, I do like the fact that it's states doing this. Mm-hmm. You know, if a federal government, do we need one law for the whole country? Mm-hmm. Probably not. I like the fact that local governors, both Republican and Democrat, are mm-hmm. saying we'll handle this. Mm-hmm. I think they're being prudent.
Chris Christie it seems level-headed and everything. He seems like a pretty sharp guy, correct?
The candidate.
Chris Christie, the presidential candidate?
Yes.
He seems like he's saying, we are going to quarantine you. I joke off his most recent rant with the fellow who spoke to him. And
well, Governor Cuomo never rants. So you got that going for it.
Well, let's go back to
Christie right?
Let's put it in perspective. How many confirmed cases in the United States of Ebola have there been?
Yeah, we're looking at
three
cases so far.
Three cases. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe we should take a wait and see. Maybe he is overreacting. Do you quarantine people that have come down with symptoms of the disease, or people that are in contact with people that may have had the disease?
Or U.S. military.
How far are you going to go?
Mm-hmm. Because we have some service members there. We have some Orange County service members.
And they're all going to be quarantined.
If Ebola really is going to be an epidemic and it's going to come to the shores of the United States, I don't think we're going to be able to handle it through quarantining people. We need to be able to handle it on the streets and by treating the people that contract the disease.
But aren't you saying two things there? You're saying we need to handle it on one hand, but don't ask anybody to be in 21 days.
The disease is going to be out there. We need to be able to treat people. Mm-hmm. And by quarantining people, I don't personally think you can control the disease by quarantine if it is in fact that prevalent and that contagious, airborne, like some people have said. But
what do you think of this,
I don't believe
Michael?
Well, I think you kind of got a couple things going on. I mean, one, we need to have some kind of a national debate and dialogue and conversation about quarantining people. The Ebola virus is not airborne at this time, but at some point in time, if there's an infectious disease that is airborne, this certainly points out with Governor Perry's actions here and Chris Christie's actions that I think we need a national policy on quarantine. We need an honest debate about what the right things to do are. I think it's hilarious that you have HIPAA rules and regulations that make it impossible and illegal to disclose the names of people that have been infected, treated, and otherwise maybe quarantined unless they choose to go public. That's personally information that I might like to know if somebody that I've been around has a problem. I like what Chuck Hagel is doing with the military when they come back from Africa. You can quarantine the troops for 21 days, and if you plan ahead for it, and that's part of what everybody's agenda is with the military, I think that's a good plan. I don't think that any of the governors have the legal right to quarantine anybody. I think it is illegal, period.
Very good points. Okay, let's take a step back to the midterms. What do we think is going to happen in the United States Senate? Is the United States Senate going to be run by Mitch McConnell in the near future? Nathan Buddy Reynolds?
The big point that the Republicans have brought out was Obamacare, and they're beating that drum and hammering, and Hopefully they won't, but it looks like they're going to make some inroads.
Make inroads in the Senate, but enough inroads to take control?
I think it's pretty clear that the Republicans will take control. 3 states we keep talking about being close, Louisiana, North Carolina, and Georgia, all 3 are three candidate races.
Landrieu
So,
definitely exposed
she's
in
going to
Louisiana.
lose in a runoff.
Well, Roberts
Hagan-
went in Kansas.
I think Roberts might, but he's going to caucus with whoever wins. The worst polls for Republicans show that they're going to have the majority by the time we go to those runoffs. So Roberts will declare one way or
You're
another.
referencing the Libertarian in that race.
Well, there's 3
yeah.
races with Libertarian, or in Louisiana, it's 2 Republicans.
So Kansas is in play, Iowa's in play. What do you think, Michael Lindsay?
I think
what's going to happen
if
after
the
these midterms?
Republicans take control of the Senate, we're going to see it's going to be like herding cats, like it's been over in the House for the last 4 years.
What do you mean? There'll be gridlock.
Well, I mean,
Will they be?
you've got 3 groups in the House right now. You've got your conservative Republicans, you've got the moderates that would like to see some things done, and you've got Democrats, and they've done nothing. I mean,
And the Senate is different how?
and I think the Senate will be more of the same thing,
but
that
the
Mitch
Senate-
McConnell
the
will be
current-
trying
the
to.
current Senate, it doesn't look exactly the same thing with you got, liberal Democrats and more moderate Democrats, but where Reid says, don't bring anything to the floor?
That is inaccurate, and it's really not truthful that you've had, Harry Reid has said, quit bringing Obamacare bills over here. I believe that. But what about the immigration? What about the immigration bill that the Senate passed? The Senate passed immigration, and it's sitting in the House for 4 years doing nothing.
Okay, so that's one. How many others?
Well, I think that's a pretty good one to start with. And I love the Republicans this week when they come out with these incendiary statements that President Obama has ordered up 35 million Social Security cards because he's going to grant amnesty for everybody. He's a Harvard Law graduate. He's the smartest guy in the room. Even if he's going to do it, he would. No, it was the chairman of the GOP that said that.
After
Well, he's a
somebody-
constitutional professor. Would that say that he should know that it appears on paper this is not a constitutional act? You can't, by executive fiat, legalize 6 million. 6 million
It's
Americans
an
in
incendiary
1 year.
statement, and whether it's illegal or not, the president is smart enough not to order those Social Security cards 10 days before the election.
I think you give him a lot of credit for intelligence that most of us don't. The
I
average voter is
wondered
not
if you
given
would
that
say
kind
that.
of credit.
But that's over a 10-year. I believe it's a 10-year period. The 34, 35 million cards there. We've got to take a break. I'm told they're shouting in my little ear right now. We'll be back though, and we're going to talk about Jeb Bush, some other big issues. When we come back, stay with us.